Paul Siebenrock.
And why have you been having fun on the historic Everett home tour?
Well, I'm an architectural historian, enjoy architecture, obviously. I actually am a member of Historic Seattle and the Arts and Craft Guild there and the National Trust, and a friend who lives up here, and I heard about the tour and thought I'd come and see it. I'm just really delighted. There's some wonderful, wonderful homes here.
Great. What do you find most interesting about the Hartley Mansion here?
It was a surprise to me because I've seen it. I knew it was had been a residence one time, but that was an office space. And I'm glad to see that fairly well preserved. See changes and things and some restoration that's of decent quality.
Absolutely.
Normally they just, people just tear everything apart and, new ceilings and false ceilings and no woodwork and no charm or character, especially for an office space. So this is a real surprise.
That's nice. And what do you think is, or why is it important for the community to be sure to preserve historic landmarks?
Well, I grew up in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, and the history is vital to all of us. I spent the last 4 years in retirement wandering around the country looking at a lot of architecture, and there are areas of this country that are so bleak and dismal. I don't know how people live them. They just have no context to anything. I mean, they're just so bland and basic. I think people lose a sense of excitement about life. The character of residences have a lot to do with how we feel about ourselves, the communities we grew up in, how we live and relate or not relate to the communities. And I think architecture helps us relate to the community. The charm and character, gives us something to look at visually and interests us, fascinate us in the forms and textures and shapes. One of my great pleasures is walking down streets and just looking at the world. And at their boxes, I mean, these plain little boxes just have, not offer us nothing. There's nothing to relate to. No sense of here I am, I belong here, or this is wonderful. These people had a wonderful life, and the interest in their lives historically.
Yeah,
in the community.
Come and see this architecture.
Yeah. It's inspiring.
Pardon me?
It's inspiring.
Is there anything you'd like to add about yourself and any involvement in the community here?
I'm not from Everett. I moved to Seattle in '82. I owned a series of older buildings myself. I eventually became as a contractor, basically, and was a member of AIA, Historic Preservation Committee, for about 16 years. So I focused on older properties myself and have done some fairly good restorations of buildings in the past. But I retired in '03 from my business, then I retired formally in '06 and have just recently come back to this area. And I've always liked Everett. It was obviously a delightful, interesting city at one time. It's certainly fallen by the wayside of Seattle in its growth and potential, but charming nonetheless. And this is a delight. I'm enjoying seeing some of the wonderful homes here.